Hi, this is Kim from Emerging Creatively Tutorials, and this is ECT TV, episode 54. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Emerging Creatively Tutorials Television, otherwise known as ECT TV. And today, I am feeling in the Christmas spirit. We are at the beginning of December, and I have my Christmas tree up already, and I have started decorating a little bit. And to be honest, I'm usually not a big Christmas person, but this year I'm trying to bring more of the joy of Christmas back into my life. So I'm trying to do things to make it feel more Christmassy in my home, and we've already done some Christmas outings, and I've started Christmas shopping, and so I thought it'd be a great time to make some Christmas ornaments. So as I was unpacking my Christmas ornaments, I found that the ones I like the best are the handmade ones. So probably the people who you are giving gifts to, or even just yourself for your own tree, would love to have handmade Christmas ornaments. So this is a kind of fun one, a unique one, and you probably have all the supplies you need already. We're just going to use some buttons and some wire and a little bit of twine or ribbon or lace. This is just to hang it up. And this process is really simple, so I'm going to show it to you and we can get started right now. So for this project, the button wreath ornament, you're going to need some wire. I am actually using 22 gauge silver plated wire that I just happen to have on hand. You can really use any wire that's somewhat flexible. You can even use the wire that you find in the garden section of craft stores. We're not going to be wearing this, so we're going to hang it on the tree. So whatever wire you want to use is fine. Just something thin enough and flexible enough, pliable enough that you can work with it and get pull it through buttonholes. And I'll show you that process shortly. And then you're going to need some buttons. And you can really make this wreath as big as you want or as small as you want. So whatever kind of buttons you want. I have about 9 here. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 on this one. If you want to make it smaller, you'll need less buttons. If you want to make it bigger, you'll need more buttons. And this really adapts to any size of button as well. It works best with buttons that have holes that are flat. So either a 2-hole or 4-hole button is what works best, and any color scheme that you want. I'm using a variety of kind of blue and green and red and white here, and again, you can use whatever you want. If you have a particular color scheme on your tree, or your decorations are a certain color, then you can use those colors, or just use whatever buttons you have. And then you'll need just a piece of twine. I'm going to use a piece of lace because I have tons of lace, or a piece of ribbon, and that's just for the part up here that that the ornament hangs up by. So just a small amount. And then the tools you'll need are wire cutters, chain nose pliers, and round nose pliers. So let's get started. So I'm just going to start out by arranging the buttons in the order I would like them. So I probably don't want all, I have a bunch of red here, so I don't want them all to be together. So just take a moment to kind of decide on how you would like them to be. And I keep changing my mind. Okay. So now I have my buttons arranged. I am going to cut some wire, and you just want to cut several inches larger than this little kind of configuration you made. I'm not going to tell you an exact amount because everybody might be making different sizes, so I just can tell you I'm going, several inches larger than my configuration that I made here. Alright, so the rest of this is relatively simple here. We're just going to start with one button and we're going to work our way around. So I'm starting with this button and I'm sliding it on the wire. So we're going to go up through one hole and down through the other hole. And that's why you need your wire to be somewhat flexible, because you're going to have to kind of pull it through these holes, and it can be a little bit tricky. And then you're just going to pull the wire flat against the back. So that's what it looks like on the back. And in the front, we'll just see a little bit of the wire coming through. So I'll show you again. And so I'm going to use a 4-hole button. So you'll just pick 2 holes that are diagonal from each other. So you go up 1, and then you just want to pull it down close, and make sure you have the front and the front together. So this is the front of this button, and this is the front of this button, because the back is where you're going to see the wire. And then just push the wire back down through the diagonal hole and then pull it tight. And you may find you have to kind of twist the wire a little bit to get it to work. And then you just want to, if it gets a little loose like mine was, you can just pull the button down close to each other. And then you're just going to continue doing this. So just go around your circle here, going up, making sure both sides are facing front, and then going back down through the other hole. And then sliding the button over if you need to. I'm just going to keep them all close together like this and continue doing this. So you'll end up with a line of buttons. I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. So as I was doing this, I realized I just want to make sure I gave you one tip here. And let me show you what that is. So I'm adding another button. So I'm coming up through the bottom, through one hole, and then I'm sliding the button on, and then I want to slide it all the way so it's close to this button. So when you first pull this button on, it's helpful if you, extremely helpful if you pull it down real close to the button before it. And at this point is where I flatten the wire in the back, so this wire is flat, and then I just sort of hold these buttons together so it stays in place. And now I'm coming back down with my wire. And see how this wire, I don't know if you can see it very well in the video, kind of gets twisted. So I just twist it so that it's not twisted. And then you just pull down the wire so that the wire is flat on the front, and you flatten the wire in the back too. So I just want to give you that tip in case I didn't make that clear. When you pull on the button, just make sure that it's close to the button before it. So I'll show you again, sliding on the next button. I slide it all the way down so it's close to the button in front of it. And then I pull it so it's flat, which also makes this wire kind of have a bend in it and be flat. And then you just pull the wire back down through the other hole, straightening it out as needed. And if it gets twisted like this, you may need to grab your pliers, which I hadn't had to do before, but we'll do it now. And then you just pull it on through. Alright, I have a couple more buttons to add, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have finished placing all my buttons on my wire, and I have a pretty significant amount of wire left, which is fine. I'm just going to trim it off, and I can actually still use this wire for something else. And so right now, what I'm going to do first, before I do trim the wire, is form this into a circle, and just make sure I like the size of this button wreath that I've made. And I do, so I'm going to stick with it. If you find that you don't, you can either add some more buttons if you would like it to be larger, or take some buttons off if you like it to be smaller. And so since this is a lot of wire, I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the excess now. And I'm just going to make sure I leave a few inches on each end, because we are going to make a wire wrapped loop now. So now we're going to form this wreath into a circle like we just pretty much did, but now we're doing it for real instead of just testing to see if we like the size. And then however it feels comfortable, whichever hand it feels comfortable, we're going to be twisting this wire together. So crisscross, maybe it's easier to see in the back, crisscross the wire, and then we're going to make a twist. And I'm going to go all the way around once. You can go around twice if you feel better about that. And then I'm just making sure everything still looks right, feels right, the buttons aren't like on top of each other, everything is fine, and it is. And so now I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and this is just a wire wrapped loop just like you make in jewelry making. So these are round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab one of the wires. It doesn't matter which wire you grab, unless one of them is longer than the other, then grab that one. And I'm actually going to try to make a pretty big loop, so I'm using my round nose pliers all the way back toward as far closest to the handle as I can, because this part of the barrel is larger. So you just twist around your pliers, and then kind of in between the plier and that twist you made, and you form a loop. Alright, and if you've watched my videos before, you want to straighten out this loop. There's other ways to do this. This is how I like to do it. Do it however you feel comfortable. But I take my chain nose pliers, I hold the loop in the middle of the chain nose pliers, and now I'm just continuing to go around with that same wire. And as I go around one time, I straighten out my loop. So the loop is kind of straight up and down in the middle of the wreath. And now I'm just going to hold the loop in my chain nose pliers again, but I'm switching hands, and I'm going to continue wrapping. Oh, actually, this was the original, with the first wire, a couple of times, and you can use bent nose pliers to hold on to the wire to do the wrapping if you want. I'm just using my hands. And then with the other wire that you had, go ahead and wrap that a few times as well. Try to keep your wraps nice and straight and tight together. And then we're just going to trim off the excess wire. There's two of them, so trim them both. And then you just grab your chain nose pliers again, and just make sure the ends are not poking out. Okay, and so that is basically the wreath. I'm just going to take my piece of ribbon that I had, or this is a piece of lace, and you just pull it through that loop and tie it at the top. Or you could just actually add a little hook on the top and hang it from your tree that way. You don't necessarily have to use ribbon or twine or anything like that. So I'm just making sure this is all in a circle. And that is the button wreath ornament. I hope you enjoyed this ornament tutorial. I usually do jewelry making tutorials. If you come over to KimberlyKoehler.com, you will see this tutorial step by step in photos, And if you sign up for my email newsletter, I actually send out the tutorials from the ECT TV episodes every other week when I publish them. I send them out via PDF, so it's easier for you to open, download them, or print them if you want to, and save them to your computer. So to get the PDF, you sign up for my newsletter, and then you'll start getting them with the next episode. And I also wanted to mention, starting in January 2016, I am running my popular e-course called Rediscover Your Creativity and Make Jewelry. It starts on January 4th, and you can get signed up for that. And also the class that's coming after it is called Inspired e-course, which is going to be a fun new class. So they run one after the other. And I actually have a bundle deal as well. So to learn about all of that, come on over to KimberlyKoehler.com, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks for a new tutorial. Have a great week.